Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am the stepson of Krypton,
And I'm Mantis.
and today we are bringing you a short video based off of an article that was released because I will tell you, Mantis and I, or at least I didn't have any idea that this was going to be the next DC theatrical release. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mantis, is it called Superman? But like there's the little slash in between there. Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to say super slash man when you read the title. I'm assuming people are just going to read Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. So, yeah.
So we are going to do a short little video on this, which is going to start right now. Yeah, so this article came out a couple of days ago, and I know there was a lot of information. We've been doing several videos over information that has come out of CinemaCon 2024. Where but this one was actually and Maranthus, correct me if I'm wrong, this was confirmed by James Gunn and Peter Safran, or whatever his last name is,
Saffron.
the
Yeah.
co-heads of, or the co-CEOs of DC Studios.
Yeah, during CinemaCon, like you said, they had confirmed this, and I, like you said, I didn't know this was coming out. I didn't know this was a thing. I had not heard any news on it. But yeah, they announced that it's a because it's funny because we did another video on the Joker, Folie à Dieu, the second Joker film, which is supposed to be a musical, right? And then this kind of releases this week at CinemaCon that Warner Brothers is doing a documentary. So this film is a documentary. It's not a superhero movie like normal every other DC movie has been. Like this is delving into to the life and filmography, I'm assuming, of Christopher Reeve, one of your
Now,
favorite Superman. So
yes. Now we've done a lot of videos on Superman. Obviously, the channel is You, Me, and DC, and especially with all of the James Gunn rebooting the DCU, we've been doing a lot on there. But as Mantis has just said there, it's been evident from video one that yes, my Superman, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Henry Cavill as Superman, wish he would continue, but my Superman, what I grew up on was Christopher Reeves. He, for me, is the epitome of Superman.
Bad vibrations?
Because he had the nerdy, hometown. You would never believe this guy was had superpowers. Clark Kent down, but he also played this suave, smooth, badass Superman. That he's just my Superman. He's always going to be.
well,
From
he's a
the
talented actor too. I don't mean
Yes,
to cut you off. He's a very talented actor. Again, I'm just going to cut in here. This one, and I'll let you keep going. There's this one scene in the Superman films where he's about to tell Lois that he's Superman in her apartment. I know you know the one I'm talking about.
I do.
And he takes his glasses off, and you could see his whole demeanor change. Like his acting is now, he's not a bumbling fool jester type character. He is serious and stoic. His cadence, his voice tone changes, and then he gets chicken shit when Lois comes back in the room and puts his glasses on, and he's like, "Well, Lois," like he turns back into bumbling Clark Kent, right?
Lois, there's something I have to tell you. I'm really. I was at first really nervous about tonight.
Very. I want to say, like, of all the actors that could do both, I think he did both very well. So continue. Sorry.
No, it's fine because you're absolutely right. Because I think of all the people who have played Superman in live action, Brandon Routh is the only other one I would say that did both anywhere near as well as Christopher Reeves, right? Because again, he
Mhm.
did have that where he made you believe they were two separate
Yeah.
characters, which and he changed the hair and he had a lot bigger glasses versus when you're in like Smallville or
Yeah.
even Superman and Lois, which is the current iteration of him in live action. there's not a lot of change between how they are as Superman and how they are as Clark. Clark is slowly kind of getting pushed by the wayside, whereas Christopher Reeves, he embodied Superman. And that film was from 1978, so it was a couple of years before I was born. But that's why I grew up on that Superman. And then, obviously, for those of you who don't know, in 1995, there was a horse riding accident where he was basically made quadriplegic on a ventilator. Uh, it was very, very sad to see,
Mhm.
because again, you're thinking somebody who is playing Superman, playing the most indestructible character, and one of the most powerful characters on all of comics, ranging back from, 1939. Like he's been in the comics for so long. He was the OG superhero, and now this happened to him. Uh, it was great though. He does appear in the Smallville series,
He
which I
does.
thought was great because
Yeah.
there are so many
Third season?
actors.
Was it in the
Third,
third season?
yeah. So
Yeah.
when he starts trying to find out more about his origins in the ship and everything, he gets the messages from Virgil Swan, is who he's playing.
Mhm.
And he goes and he talks to him, and of course Virgil's already uh, deciphered a lot of the Kryptonian language, which I thought it was great.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, he died shortly thereafter of that releasing, right?
So he was in a couple of episodes as Virgil Swan. I think I want to say two. Let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong on that. I think it was like two different episodes, and he was going to appear in more, and they were going to continue on that line, and then he did pass away.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And then it's tragic again, something like that, you just don't think it could happen to someone like that. It's one of those accidents, it's a freak accident. Like, you're telling me Superman got downed by a horse? Like, it's just the most crazy thing you would think. But your spine's very sensitive. You fall in the wrong way, it could mess you up pretty bad. And which, again, what happened to him. And there are people that thought he wouldn't live, right? Like, and he did, and he continued acting to a minimal extent in those various cameo type things. This film that we're talking about, the Superman or Super slash Man Christopher Reeve story, documentary. It they've said, there's you get interviews with his kids. Apparently he was good friends with Glenn Close. You get, I'm sure she's got some stuff to say in there. Apparently he was very good friends with, or a connection with Robin Williams. So that's very interesting too, because Robin Williams such a great actor, with comedy and improvising. Um, a weird caveat to that, with Christopher Reeve, you wouldn't think that would be a connection there. So there's lots of things in this film apparently. It was, purchased by Warner Brothers for 15 millions after the Sundance premiere, which is interesting because and maybe this is how documentaries work. I don't know if the way documentaries are done, where independent filmmakers and writers do documentaries and put them together, and then they're picked up after they're premiered, and how the audience and critics take them. I mean, I'm not sure if you know that answer, but it's just an interesting thing that it wasn't produced by Warner Brothers from the get go, and they were like, "Oh no, I like this. Yeah, let's do this." Right? Like, I don't know if that's a thing or not.
I think it's more of a, they're not necessarily wanting to dole out, the big studios aren't wanting to dole out money because they don't know how this is going to do. So these more independent, these smaller um, companies, and even just a person is going out and saying, hey, I'm going to do this, and then they realize that
Mhm.
there's potential. Maybe they do some test screenings, and they realize that there's a want for this, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden now they back it, and they help out, especially like post-production, which it's a documentary, so they're you
Yeah.
wouldn't think there would be a whole lot, but uh,
Well, editing's quite a big thing in any film and documentaries for sure. I think, to kind of wrap it up on my end, my question would be, and someone had brought this up in this article that I was reading from the direct, which is where I found this info. You know, they mentioned in there, what a better way to introduce the world to a new Man of Steel than to remind everyone the story of the original, or not the original, but the legendary one, the most popular one, I would say, in Christopher Reeves. Like, that's a good point. Like, why would they come out with this movie right now? And I think it's to dole up support and those cleanse the palate of Henry Cavill to an extent, playing Superman. Um, and maybe it's to set the stage of how this new of David Cornsweet, right, is going to portray his version of Clark Kent and Superman.
Well, and I think you're right. Right, I do think it is a palate cleanser, right? Because everybody is still so hung up on Henry Cavill, and rightfully so. But especially since there's been, when it was Superman Legacy and they were showing all the Golden Age Superman kind of images and comic like shots, and now it's just Superman and they're doing Kingdom Come. I feel like it's a good way to kind of show like here's the origin. Here is Superman at in basically the golden era, right? This was the Golden Age Superman, so to speak. So I think you're right. It is a good way to, hey, yeah, but this is also almost 50 years old, right?
Yeah,
But
where
it's how
it comes
long,
from.
yeah.
Like this is the, I won't say gold standard, but like this is the roots, right, of this character. It's not going back to the original series that was on TV or whatever, but like I think for as far back as you want to go, because again, what would you say, 78 was when this came
78
out?
was with the first movie.
Like we're, I mean, that's a pretty long time, like from now, right? Like, I mean, we're 40, 50 years plus there, 40 years plus.
Come on. Do math.
From that film, the original Superman and Superman 2, Superman 3, we won't talk about that one. But like I think it's trying to drum up support again and get people reinterested in Superman, the character. But this is not just like a fan fiction thing. Like this is going in and it's trying to pull people's emotional strings. Again, most superhero movies aren't emotional, right? In Superman, I will say, in Man of Steel, the movie, like the end of that film where he, you know, does the whole neck break or whatever, that's pretty a powerful moment. That whole scene is pretty powerful in the lore and the whole framework of Superman and the character. This film is diving into the human aspect of the person playing Superman. And I think it's going to draw connections. Again, I've not seen Don't Anything About It really. I just think it's going to try and draw connections between the character Superman and Christopher Reeve, the man. And those two, how Christopher made that character his own and his influence on the character as a whole moving forward, and how David Routh or Chris or Brandon, holy shit,
Let's go,
Routh
Brandon.
Yeah, let's go, Brandon. Yeah, how Brandon Routh played the character, and how Henry Cavill played the character, and how David Cornsweet's going to play the character. Right? I think it's trying to elicit that grounding and maybe make people keep an open mind about the new film. But that's just my take. I don't know.
Now, let me say something real quick for the Smallville fans out there, because we misspoke. So, Virgil Swan appears in the end of season 2, episode 17 in Rosetta. Okay, so he is sending out the the Clark, his heat vision's going crazy. He's having the symbols burned into the barn, and Virgil Swan sees this, contacts him. So it's at the end of season 2 when all of the Clark's trying to fight his destiny, trying to fight against his dad, and he gets the symbol burned into his chest, and Martha loses the baby, and he, at the end of season 2, goes to Metropolis to embrace his true Kryptonian heritage, whatever. That's at the end of season 2. Virgil Swan contacts him and he tells him, and basically, what the ship in there says, and it says he was sent there to rule, right? And that
Mm.
sends him on the fringes. And then you don't see Virgil Swan again until about the same episode. I think it's the 17th episode of season 3. You see Virgil Swan again, so he is in 2 episodes. After that, it's Margot Kidder who plays Lois, right? In
Mhm.
the original movies, she is in that as his assistant that then continues on with the
I
Foundation.
forgot about that. I
Yeah.
fucking forgot about that. Holy shit!
And
Yeah,
when I say right, I just meant that I'm pronouncing her name right because Mantis knows I'm
yeah,
bad
yeah.
about that.
Right.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. Margaret. Yep.
she continues on with Virgil Swan's Foundation, but she knows all about Clark and all of that. So she will, like, in the latter or in a couple of seasons later, she is interacting with them and all of that. So sorry, little side note on that, just because I didn't want people to think we misspoke on the Smallville thing. That I wanted to correct that so nobody roasts us in the comments. Chances are the people who are going to roast us in the comments won't make it this far in the video, and they'll roast us. And yeah, if you watched 5 more minutes, you'd see I corrected us on that. But it is also because the other thing is too, like, Christopher Reeves. He was more than just Superman, right? He brought himself to the role. And, we all kind of get lost on the idea that, Christopher Reeves is Superman. He's this, that, and the other. But he also was a person too. And he loses his identity in Superman. Whereas I think the documentary is going to show the type of person he was embodies a lot of those things that Superman does, right? So it's not that Christopher Reeves is just Superman and boom, he basically loses his identity to the character, but it was that his character is what embodies Superman. At least I'd like to hope. I don't know. This was just new to us. Mantis had sent this and said, "Hey, they're talking about this theatrical release for Super/Man. We'll call it for now." And I was like, holy shit, because again, he's mentioned on there several times, and we both have. Christopher Reeves is my Superman.
Yeah. Again, you guys let us know in the comments if you're excited about this and wanna or you're gonna watch it. That brings up a good question. I don't know if this is gonna be strictly streaming, like on Max, or what they're gonna do with it, or if it's gonna be in the theaters. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, but the article's titled DC's next theatrical release, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I would assume that they're going to put it in theaters. Documentaries in theaters don't normally do well, so that's why I was asking. I don't know.
And that's my thing for it is, like, I usually only go to theaters for the biggest blockbusters, right? Not even a lot of the smaller Marvel movies have I gone. Usually it's like Avengers level movies, or if it's Captain America or something, because he's my favorite of them, or Superman. Like, it's not every like, the Joker. I didn't go see that in theaters. Great movie, but I didn't go see it in theaters. Like, there's limits to what I'm going to go out to theaters for. So this would be a tough one to say I'd go see in theaters, just because nowadays it's going to be out in streaming within a month and a half, maybe.
That's the way I look at it.
Like, I could wait versus, back in the day when we were younger, dude, you'd wait 6 months to a year before that movie came out to DVD or VHS.
If here's the only stipulation: if they would make the proceeds of all the sales go to the Christopher Reeve Foundation or something like that,
and I think
then I would think of that. Yeah, and then I would think about spending money on it, but. Otherwise, it's almost a wall, like you said. Just wait till it comes to like Max or something like that.
I don't, to me, and maybe it's because we've become more heartless as a society, but I don't feel like it is disrespect to not go see it in theaters to pay tribute to his memory. Again, if the proceeds were all going, so when he did pass, they had a Superman symbol necklace commemorated for his passing, and all of the proceeds to that did go to the Christopher Reeves Foundation. That's one of those things that, yeah, you jump on, you get, because again, it's a great cause, and it's paying tribute. But again, if it's just a bunch of greedy motherfuckers, especially Warner Brothers, just going to start taking profits of this, like, I'll wait, right? I can get it on streaming, or I can get a digital copy or even a hard copy of it. I'll just wait.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, went a little longer than I was planning on this one, but it's a very it's an important topic, especially being fans of Superman. Obviously, clearly, I am. Um, and with the channel name in here, so let us know how you feel about it. Would you want to go see this in theaters? And also, I'm curious. Like, speak up. Like, who is your Superman? Is it Henry Cavill? There's nothing. There's no shame in that, right? I'm not hating on anybody who loves, because I think Henry does an amazing job. Um,
Yeah, could be Brandon Routh, could be a dark horse, Dean Cain. Who knows? Could
I do
be
like Dean. I'm sorry, I do like Dean Cain, even though he's not at all the hype. Like
I don't know.
because I grew up on that show like for 4 years. While I watched that show, I love Dean Cain as Superman. I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah. Let us know in the comments.
don't hate me. All right, and real
Excuse me.
quick, guys, if you've made it with us this far, we definitely do appreciate it. He is going to show you where to hit that like button as well. Don't forget, because it's included on there, right? And I'll make it scroll that way. There's also a subscribe button on there, and then the little bell on that same thing. So it's all right there in a pretty little
Yeah.
package that you
Two
can,
clicks, boom, boom.
yeah, just boom, boom, boom. To
Yeah.
where you will get all of our videos as we continue down the Superman and the DCU path, as well as we just recorded a good one about Spider-Man, and we've got some Marvel content as well too. We try to be fair to both. Uh, and if you aren't subscribed and you don't have the damn bell clicked, you aren't going to get notified on all of them.
Yeah.
And
Stay tuned with us.
and if you really want to stay tuned, Mantis does have a new channel, Mantis Toboggan Gaming, where he does do live streams. Currently, he is playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. He does not know. He probably does, because the previous video I just told him you got a long way to go, bud. So he's going to have a lot of
Exactly.
content to go on that channel. But he is doing live streams as well. If you do miss the live stream, you can watch the videos, where it's a little more succinct version of the actiony stuff. Because if you have played that game, there's a lot of time where you're just kind of like in the menu looking like, how do I,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
materia do I
Yeah, come
use?
hang out. If you're more of a live stream, come hang out. It's fun. We can interact in the chat and talk about the game or talk about whatever. Like, I'm cool with talking about whatever, playing games. It's all fun. If you're more of the YouTube crowd, you want the video straight up, just check on I make all the streams into videos as well. So either of your fancy. I'm on YouTube as well as Twitch. So
Guys, I know Mantis would appreciate it. I would as well if you went and took a look at his channel, because he does put in a lot of effort on that. It is a great game. It is a great channel. So from us here at You, Me, and DC, we would definitely appreciate you going and taking a look at his channel there, and hopefully
there
gets you
it is.
interested in the game. I can't do
Sorry,
the little heart thing. It always looks like it's got
I'm
a
trying to practice.
abnormality, like
Yeah.
it's got a murmur or something. So I don't do that on there, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. Until the next time, we will see you on the next video.
Later.